The weeks following the Hollywood premiere were a whirlwind for Danny. His story had inspired thousands, and he started receiving letters from people all over the world. Parents of children with Down syndrome thanked him for showing that kindness and hard work always win. Students sent him drawings, calling him their hero. Even a few job offers from bigger restaurants and companies landed in his inbox. But Danny never let it go to his head. He loved his job at the diner, and that's where he wanted to stay. Then one day, he received another surprise. It was a quiet morning shift when the door swung open, and in walked Keanu Reeves, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Morning, rock star," Keanu greeted, setting 1 cup in front of Danny. Danny's eyes widened. "Mr. Reeves, what are you doing here?" Keanu chuckled. "Came to see a friend. Also, I have something to ask you." Danny wiped his hands on his apron and leaned in, curious. "Me? What is it?" Keanu took a deep breath. "I'm working on a new movie, and we need someone special for a small but important role." He sipped his coffee before continuing. "It's a scene in a diner, and I thought, who better to play the best employee in town than the real deal?" Danny's heart nearly stopped. "Wait, are you saying you want me to be in your movie?" Keanu nodded. "Only if you're up for it. No pressure." Danny felt his hands shake with excitement. He had never dreamed of being in a movie, let alone one starring Keanu Reeves. He looked around the diner, the place that had always been his home, his safe space. Then he met Keanu's gaze and smiled. "I'd love to." The restaurant erupted in cheers from co-workers and customers who had overheard the conversation. Keanu laughed and patted Danny on the back. "Then it's official," Keanu said. "Hollywood, here we come." And just like that, Danny's life took another incredible turn. He wasn't just an employee at a diner anymore. He was about to become a part of movie history. And through it all, one thing remained true. He was still Danny, the rock star. The end, or maybe just the beginning. This gives Danny an even bigger journey, one that leads him to Hollywood but keeps his humble spirit intact. What do you think? Want to explore his experience on set? A few weeks had passed since the unforgettable night Keanu Reeves stood up for Danny. Life had returned to normal, well, as normal as it could be after going viral. Danny still worked at the diner, greeting customers with his signature smile, but something had changed. People now came not just for the food, but to meet him. Parents brought their children to show them an example of kindness and perseverance. Strangers left encouraging notes on napkins. Some customers even requested to take pictures with Danny, calling him an inspiration. Then, one afternoon, something completely unexpected happened. Danny's manager called him into the office, looking both excited and nervous. "Danny, you might want to sit down for this," she said, holding up an envelope. Danny furrowed his brow. "Did I do something wrong?" The manager chuckled. "Not at all. In fact, you're about to get the biggest opportunity of your life." She handed him the envelope. Danny carefully opened it and pulled out a letter. His eyes widened as he read the words at the top. "Official invitation, Hollywood premiere of Keanu Reeves' new movie." His jaw dropped. "Wait, is this real?" His manager grinned. "Very real. Keanu Reeves himself sent this, and there's more. He wants you to be his special guest." Danny couldn't believe it. Just weeks ago, he was an ordinary diner employee, happy to serve customers and make people smile. Now he was being invited to a Hollywood premiere by Keanu Reeves. The day of the event arrived, and Danny stood in front of the mirror, dressed in a brand new suit that his co-workers had pitched in to buy for him. He had never worn anything so fancy before. A limo arrived at his house, and as he stepped inside, he felt like he was dreaming. Cameras flashed as he pulled up to the red carpet, reporters whispering, "That's Danny!" The guy Keanu Reeves defended. And then, there he was. Keanu Reeves stood at the entrance waiting. When he saw Danny, his face lit up with a smile. He walked over and hugged him. "You made it, buddy," Keanu said. Danny grinned. "Of course, I wouldn't miss it." As they walked down the red carpet together, Keanu leaned over and whispered, "You know, you're the real star tonight." Danny laughed, shaking his head. "No way, that's you." Keanu chuckled. "Nah, the world saw what I saw. Someone with a big heart who deserves the spotlight." The night was magical. Danny met celebrities, watched the movie from the best seat in the house, and even got a standing ovation when Keanu introduced him to the crowd. By the time he returned home, his heart was full. He had never imagined that standing up for himself with the help of someone like Keanu Reeves would change his life forever. But more importantly, he knew one thing for sure. No matter where life took him, he would always stay true to himself. The end. This gives Danny a perfect Hollywood-worthy ending. What do you think? Want to expand it more? As the night wore on, the story of what had happened spread like wildfire. Customers who had witnessed Keanu's act of kindness posted about it online, and within hours it went viral. Videos of Keanu standing up for Danny flooded social media, with captions like, "Keanu Reeves, a true hero in real life," and "protecting the innocent, one diner at a time." Danny, oblivious to the growing buzz, continued his work with renewed enthusiasm. But the next morning, everything changed. When he arrived for his shift, he was met with a huge surprise. The diner was packed, not just with regular customers, but with reporters, news crews, and strangers who had come from all over to support him. A banner hung above the counter that read, "Danny, our rock star." His manager, wiping away tears, rushed over and handed him a phone. "Danny, you need to see this." On the screen was a personal video message from Keanu Reeves himself. "Hey, Danny, it's me, Keanu. I just wanted to say you're famous, buddy. But more importantly, I hope you see now how much people appreciate you. Keep being amazing. Oh, and next time, burgers are on me." Danny couldn't believe it. His hands trembled as he watched the video again and again. The days that followed were surreal. Customers left huge tips, companies reached out offering him job opportunities, and even local celebrities dropped by to meet him. But through it all, Danny remained the same, kind, hard-working, and humble. Then, one evening, a sleek black car pulled up outside the diner. The door opened, and out stepped Keanu Reeves. The entire restaurant went silent. Keanu walked straight to the counter where Danny stood frozen in disbelief. With a grin, Keanu slid into a seat and tapped the menu. "So, what's good here?" The place erupted in cheers. Danny laughed, his heart swelling with happiness. "The burger," he said proudly. "It's on me this time." Keanu chuckled. "Deal." As the night went on, the two sat and talked, sharing stories and laughter. But for Danny, the most important thing wasn't the fame or the cameras. It was knowing that someone as incredible as Keanu Reeves saw him, respected him, and called him a friend. And that was the greatest gift of all. The end. That was an even more heartwarming finale. What do you think? As the night wore on, the story of what had happened spread like wildfire. Customers who had witnessed Keanu's act of kindness posted about it online, and within hours it went viral. Videos of Keanu standing up for Danny flooded social media, with captions like, "Keanu Reeves, a true hero in real life," and "protecting the innocent, one diner at a time." Danny, oblivious to the growing buzz, continued his work with renewed enthusiasm. But the next morning, everything changed. When he arrived for his shift, he was met with a huge surprise. The diner was packed, not just with regular customers, but with reporters, news crews, and strangers who had come from all over to support him. A banner hung above the counter that read, "Danny, our rock star." His manager, wiping away tears, rushed over and handed him a phone. "Danny, you need to see this." On the screen was a personal video message from Keanu Reeves himself. "Hey, Danny, it's me, Keanu. I just wanted to say you're famous, buddy. But more importantly, I hope you see now how much people appreciate you. Keep being amazing. Oh, and next time, burgers are on me." Danny couldn't believe it. His hands trembled as he watched the video again and again. The days that followed were surreal. Customers left huge tips, companies reached out offering him job opportunities, and even local celebrities dropped by to meet him. But through it all, Danny remained the same, kind, hard-working, and humble. Then, one evening, a sleek black car pulled up outside the diner. The door opened, and out stepped Keanu Reeves. The entire restaurant went silent. Keanu walked straight to the counter where Danny stood frozen in disbelief. With a grin, Keanu slid into a seat and tapped the menu. "So, what's good here?" The place erupted in cheers. Danny laughed, his heart swelling with happiness. "The burger," he said proudly. "It's on me this time." Keanu chuckled. "Deal." As the night went on, the two sat and talked, sharing stories and laughter. But for Danny, the most important thing wasn't the fame or the cameras. It was knowing that someone as incredible as Keanu Reeves saw him, respected him, and called him a friend. And that was the greatest gift of all. The end. That was an even more heartwarming finale. What do you think? As Keanu took a bite of his burger, the atmosphere in the diner gradually returned to normal. People whispered among themselves, stealing glances at him with admiration. Some even took subtle photos, but no one dared to disturb him. Everyone knew they had just witnessed something special. Danny, still buzzing with excitement, returned to work with renewed energy. The moment with Keanu had lifted his spirits, and now every order he took, he did with even more pride. After finishing his meal, Keanu stood up and walked over to the counter. Danny was cleaning a tray when he noticed the actor approaching. "Mr. Reeves, can I get you anything else?" Danny asked nervously. Keanu smiled warmly. "Nah, I'm good, buddy, but I do have one favor to ask." Danny's eyes widened. "A favor? From me?" Keanu nodded. "Yeah, can I get a picture with the best employee here?" Danny's jaw nearly dropped. The entire diner went silent for a second, then a wave of excitement swept through the room. The other employees quickly grabbed a phone, and Danny stood beside Keanu, still processing what was happening. As the flash went off, Keanu leaned down and whispered, "You're a rock star, Danny. Don't ever forget that." Danny grinned ear to ear. "Thank you, Mr. Reeves." Keanu gave him a fist bump, left a generous tip on the counter, and made his way to the door. But just before stepping out, he turned back to the restaurant and addressed everyone. "Hey, if you ever see someone being treated unfairly, do something about it," he said firmly. "Kindness costs nothing, but it changes everything." With that, he slipped into the night, disappearing just as quietly as he had come. Danny stared at the door long after Keanu had gone, his heart pounding with joy. He had always believed in doing his best, but now he had a story, a moment that would stay with him forever. And the next time someone tried to put him down, he would remember Keanu's words. He was a rock star, and no one could tell him otherwise. The end. That wraps up the continuation with a satisfying and uplifting conclusion. Hope you liked it. Here's a compelling story based on your idea. Customer harassment. Employee with Down syndrome didn't realize Keanu Reeves was watching live. It was just another evening at a small diner in Los Angeles. The place wasn't fancy, but it was known for its warm service and welcoming atmosphere. Among the staff was a young man named Danny, a kind-hearted employee with Down syndrome who had been working there for 2 years. Everyone loved Danny. His enthusiasm was infectious, and his dedication to his job was admirable. That night, an unexpected guest walked in. Keanu Reeves. He was wearing a simple leather jacket, jeans and a cap, trying to keep a low profile. He had just wrapped up a long day of filming and wanted nothing more than a quiet meal. As Keanu settled into a corner booth, he noticed something that made his blood boil. A well-dressed customer at the counter was berating Danny. "You can't even get my order right? Are you stupid or something?" The man sneered, his voice loud enough for other diners to hear. Danny, clearly flustered, tried to apologize. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll fix it right away." But the man wasn't done. "People like you shouldn't even be working here. You're too slow, too dumb. I don't have all night." The restaurant fell silent. The other employees looked uncomfortable, unsure of how to intervene. Danny's face turned red with embarrassment, but he forced a small smile, trying to stay professional. Keanu Reeves had seen enough. He stood up, his calm demeanor masking the storm brewing inside him. As he approached the counter, every step felt heavy with purpose. He placed a firm hand on the customer's shoulder. "Hey," Keanu said, his voice steady but intense. "That's enough." The rude customer turned, ready to lash out, until he realized who was standing behind him. His face drained of color. "Keanu Reeves?" Keanu nodded. "Yeah, and I just watched you insult one of the hardest working guys here." He glanced at Danny, then back at the customer. "Do you have any idea how much effort and courage it takes to do what he does every day? To show up, work hard, and serve people like you?" The man stammered, suddenly unsure of himself. I didn't mean..." Keanu didn't let him finish. "You did, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to apologize to Danny right now." The entire restaurant was watching. The man swallowed hard, then turned to Danny. I'm sorry," he mumbled. Keanu raised an eyebrow, louder and like you mean it. "I'm sorry," the man repeated, this time with more sincerity. Danny, still a bit shaken, nodded. "It's okay." Keanu turned back to the man. "Good. Now, why don't you take your food and go?" The customer didn't argue. He grabbed his takeout bag and practically ran out the door. The moment it shut behind him, the entire diner erupted into applause. Danny looked up at Keanu, his eyes wide. "Thank you, Mr. Reeves." Keanu smiled and ruffled Danny's hair. "You're doing great, buddy. Don't let people like that get to you." Danny beamed. The manager, nearly in tears, offered Keanu a free meal, but he refused. Instead, he simply ordered a burger and fries, sat back down and enjoyed his food, knowing that tonight he had made a real difference. This story captures Keanu Reeves' known kindness and strong moral compass, making it a powerful and heartwarming moment. Hope you like it. Hollywood bound, Danny's big break. A few weeks later, Danny found himself standing in the middle of a real Hollywood movie set. Bright lights, cameras, and actors surrounded him, but the most surreal part was seeing his name on a chair next to Keanu Reeves. He wasn't just visiting, he was part of the movie. The scene was simple. Danny, playing a diner employee, which was easy since he was one, had to serve Keanu's character a cup of coffee, but the nerves hit him as soon as the director called out, "Action!" Danny carefully walked to Keanu's table, coffee in hand, just like he did every day at work. "Here you go, sir," Danny said with a big smile. Keanu, in full character mode, nodded. "Thanks, kid. Tough night?" Danny hesitated for a moment, then remembered what Keanu had told him before filming. "Just be yourself, buddy. That's all you need to do." So Danny relaxed and answered honestly, "Not really. I like my job." Keanu smiled, and the director grinned from behind the camera. "Cut! That was perfect!" The entire crew cheered. Danny had just nailed his first ever movie scene. Keanu clapped him on the back. "Told you. You're a natural." Danny blushed, but deep down he felt something new, confidence. The premiere and Danny's big speech. Months later, the movie premiered and Danny walked the red carpet again, this time, not just as Keanu's guest, but as part of the cast. When the credits rolled, his name appeared on the big screen. The crowd cheered, and Danny felt tears in his eyes. Then came the biggest moment of all. Keanu invited him on stage. Danny, holding the microphone, took a deep breath and looked out at the massive audience. "I never thought I'd be here," he said, his voice steady. "I just worked at a diner, doing my best. But Mr. Reeves, he saw me. He believed in me." He turned to Keanu and smiled. "You changed my life, and I want to tell everyone out there, no matter who you are, no matter what people say, you matter. You are important, and you can do amazing things." The audience erupted in applause. Keanu hugged him, whispering, "You didn't just make a scene in a movie, Danny. You made history." Epilogue: The rock star's future. After the movie's success, Danny had more opportunities, TV interviews, invitations to events, even job offers. But in the end, he chose to stay at his diner. Because while Hollywood was exciting, nothing made him happier than serving people with a smile. Of course, Keanu still visited him, sometimes with his famous friends. And every time he did, Danny would bring him his usual order with a grin. "On the house, Mr. Reeves." And every time Keanu would say, "Nope, this one's on me, Rockstar." Because Danny wasn't just a diner employee anymore. He was an inspiration to the world, the end and a new beginning. How's that for a grand Hollywood ending? Or would you like more? A new chapter for Danny. Life at the diner had changed in ways Danny never expected. People from all over the country came just to meet him, take pictures, and hear his story. He never let it go to his head, though. He still showed up early, wiped down tables, and made sure every customer left with a smile. But one day, something happened that would take Danny's journey even further. A sleek black car pulled up outside the diner, and a familiar face stepped out. Danny grinned. "Back for another burger, Mr. Reeves?" Keanu chuckled. "Always. But actually, I came to talk to you about something important." Danny wiped his hands on his apron. "Oh? What's up?" Keanu pulled out an envelope and slid it across the counter. "This is for you." Danny hesitated before opening it. Inside was a scholarship offer to one of the best culinary schools in the country. Danny's eyes widened. "Wait, what is this?" Keanu smiled. "I've seen how much you love this job, Danny, and I know you could do even bigger things. This school will help you become a professional chef, if that's something you want." Danny's hands shook as he read the letter again. But I never thought about being a chef. I just like making people happy." Keanu nodded. And that's exactly why you'd be great at it. Danny thought about it long and hard. He loved the diner, loved the people, but this was a chance to learn, to grow, and to do even more. He looked up at Keanu, his eyes full of determination. "Okay, I'll do it," Keanu grinned. "That's my rock star." From diner employee to chef Danny. Months later, Danny arrived at culinary school, nervous but excited. The classes were tough, but he worked harder than anyone. He learned to cook gourmet dishes, master new techniques, and even lead a kitchen team. Every now and then, Keanu would check in. "How's my favorite chef doing?" He'd ask over video calls, and Danny would always smile. "Learning a lot, can't wait to show you." After 2 years of training, Danny graduated with honors. And as a surprise, Keanu flew out to be at the ceremony. When Danny walked on stage to receive his diploma, Keanu stood up and cheered louder than anyone. Danny's grand opening. Not long after, Danny returned home, not just as a former diner employee, but as Chef Danny. And with a little help from Keanu and the community that loved him, he opened his own restaurant. The sign above the door read, "Rockstar Diner, where everyone is family." On opening night, the place was packed. Customers old and new filled the tables, eager to try Danny's cooking. And of course, Keanu was there, sitting at the first table with a big smile. When Danny brought out his first dish and set it in front of Keanu, he grinned. "On the house, Mr. Reeves." Keanu laughed, shaking his head. "Nope, this time I insist. This one's on me, Rockstar." And as Danny looked around at the restaurant full of happy faces, he realized something. He had gone from a small-town diner worker to a Hollywood movie guest to a trained chef with his own restaurant. And through it all, he had never stopped being Danny, the rock star who never gave up. The end, or maybe just the beginning of something even bigger. That's a full circle ending. From diner employee to chef, Danny's journey is one of growth, kindness, and never giving up. What do you think? Should we continue and explore what happens next?